After Sophia, the ex-wife, fell seriously ill in order to save her first love, she suddenly repented. She finally remembered that she had a husband and a child. She stopped following her first love and returned to the city where she and I had lived after we got married. Sophia thought that her return 3 years later would be the biggest surprise for me and my child. I held my child's hand and stood at the airport gate. My ex-wife Sophia was stunned when she saw us. "Mom!" Son William shouted happily. My ex-wife Sophia's eyes instantly turned red. She staggered a little, and was about to run over, but a well-dressed woman next to her passed her, picked up the child and threw herself into my arms. I looked at the woman lovingly and said, "Are you anxious?" The wife happily responded, "No hurry." "Are you hungry?" I held my petite wife in my arms and watched her face flush. She lowered her head shyly and smiled, saying coquettishly, "Not serious." I picked up my son, held my wife's hand and left, not noticing my ex-wife Sophia, looking desolate and lonely behind me. The main text begins. If you like it, remember to like and subscribe. Today, my wife Olivia's flight was delayed, so I waited for her at the airport gate with my son William. William sat on a bench, swinging his legs and trying hard to stuff a hamburger into his mouth. I handed him a glass of milk helplessly. "It's not like I'm not giving you food. Why are you eating so quickly?" William swallowed the food in his mouth with milk, then looked up, stared at me with accusing eyes and said, "Dad, you should think more about your own reasons. It's really that the food you cook is too bad, not even as good as Aunt Zhang's." I looked at him with a frown on my face. Mia, the nanny, had to go home to deal with something these days, and I couldn't force her to stay. I cooked for 3 days, but my son complained about me for 4 days. I looked at my son's soft face and was a little dazed. He looked like his mother, with a heroic look between his eyebrows and round and delicate almond eyes. Thinking of that person, I couldn't help but frown, feeling a little bitter. 3 years ago, she divorced and left us overnight for her first love. The group photos she posted from time to time on her moments made everything I had done a joke. Later, I blocked all her updates and slowly forgot about her. I sighed and pushed the past memories out of my mind. Why did I suddenly think of her and want to make things difficult for myself? Suddenly, William's voice came to my ears. "Dad, look. It's Mom's plane." I looked in the direction of his finger and saw that the plane was already slowly landing. I quickly finished the remaining food on the plate, holding my son with one hand and holding an umbrella with the other, and walked quickly towards the exit, muttering to myself, "Son, hurry up and don't keep your mother waiting for too long." William nodded heavily, said yeah, and ran towards the beautiful figure who had just appeared with a cheerful step, and called out coquettishly, "Mom." The flight came back late, and there were not many people waiting at the exit. I couldn't hide my excitement, and I ran forward in 2 steps, shouting excitedly, "Wife." My wife Olivia seemed to have heard the noise, and she smiled as she ran towards us, passing the thin lady next to her. I hugged her tightly, and as she called my name affectionately in my ear, I felt that the depression in my heart was swept away. Olivia touched her son's little head, stared into my eyes, and said lovingly, "Are you anxious waiting? Do you miss me?" Although there weren't many people around, there were still people watching us. I ignored the outside world's gaze and kissed her on the face, proving my longing with my actions. I was about to answer Olivia when my trouser leg was pulled. We looked down together and saw my son anxiously holding out his hands and shouting, "Mom, Mom." I smiled helplessly and picked him up so that he could look Olivia in the eye. William twisted his body, hugged Olivia's neck, pouted, and gently touched her other cheek. William misses his mother too. After saying that, he became shy, covering his face with his hands, and a faint blush appeared on his cheeks. I felt a little amused, and I exchanged glances with Olivia and laughed silently. Although people often looked over, few stayed for long. I always felt like someone was watching us, but I looked around but saw nothing. It was drizzling, and most people were holding umbrellas, so I couldn't see their faces. I frowned and was about to continue searching for the owner of my sight, but the umbrella Olivia handed over blocked my view. She took the son I had just put down and patted my arm. "Let's go home." I suppressed my doubts and picked up Olivia's suitcase. Just as I was about to leave with them, I heard the crowd's exclamations behind me. I turned around and saw the thin woman who had just passed by Olivia. Perhaps because of a sudden physical discomfort, she fell to the ground, and the black umbrella in her hand also fell to the ground, rolling several times before stopping. Her hair blocked her face, she covered her chest, stood up awkwardly, shook her body weakly, picked up the umbrella again, lowered her head slightly, and seemed not to dare to look me in the eye. I squinted my eyes and looked at her. Her eyebrows and face were almost exactly like William's. Suddenly, I froze in place, staring blankly at the person not far away. "She's back." After realizing this, I felt like I was hit by a bomb and my eyes were dizzy. I immediately thought of what happened the year she passed away. My ex-wife, Sophia, left me and our child behind for her first love and traveled thousands of miles to pursue love. This was hardly a secret among my entire circle of friends. My existence became a joke, along with our child. For her, I was willing to be Sophia's son-in-law. I didn't understand at that time that marrying into Sophia's family was a way for her to make me give up, but I kept rushing to pay for her. It was too late when I found out that she had someone she loved. After marriage, Sophia often made things difficult for me and belittled me for trivial matters. It was not until the birth of our son William that she gradually calmed down. Just when I thought I could live a peaceful life in the future, an accident broke all my visions for the future. That incident caused a huge uproar on the internet at that time. I pulled myself out of my memories, looked calmly at a place not far away, and said calmly, "It's you. Sophia is back." Someone took a photo of her at the airport and posted it online, and her former fans soon discovered the clues. Her retirement from the entertainment industry was also a sensation at the time, and fans cried in the comments section, asking her not to leave. Sophia chose to quit the entertainment industry in the year when she was at the peak of her popularity to chase her lover. She followed that person for 3 years without any news. Sophia was free and easy, but I was cyberbullied and became depressed. Sophia's reason for quitting the entertainment industry was to return to her family. The radical fans didn't know the inside story and only guessed that their idol's husband didn't want Sophia to show up in public again. They posted malicious comments on the company's official blog, even found out my home address, harassed my parents, and sent me and my children posthumous photos. I endured the pressure from all sides and tried my best to turn the tide. I filed a lawsuit and reported the matter, and the matter gradually calmed down. I also had some psychological problems because of this dispute that lasted for half a year. It was my current wife who stayed with me all the time and helped me gradually get over it. I thought I would never see Sophia again in my life, but she just showed up. Sophia looked for me in the crowd and almost instantly made eye contact with me. Sophia walked in front of me from the space made by the crowd, with joy in her eyes, and asked expectantly, "James, I'm back. Let's live a good life together, okay?" Sophia looked at me straight and tried to hold one of my hands, but I dodged her. I responded in a cold tone, "Ms. Sophia, we are divorced. Please respect yourself." Sophia looked incredulous, as if she hadn't expected that I would reject her like this after she had lost face. Sophia's breathing began to become rapid, her chest rose and fell violently, and she roared angrily, "No, it's not like that, we are not divorced, I didn't agree, you can't leave." I frowned, feeling a little irritated. My wife Olivia took my arm, and I turned my head to look at her. She gave me a reassuring look. I felt the anger in my heart suddenly eased a lot. "I'm sorry, Miss Sophia, he is my husband now, and please note that you are the ex-wife." Olivia deliberately added emotion to the last few words. I could see Sophia's face turned pale instantly. She bit her lower lip tightly, looking pitiful after being bullied. Her frail body shook at the right time. If someone who didn't know the situation saw it, they would think it was her ex-husband showing off with his current wife. I saw that Sophia looked so weak that she was about to faint. Considering our past friendship, I sent her back to Sophia's family. Sophia's mother held her daughter in her arms and shed tears silently. She checked her up and down and seemed to have touched something. Sophia groaned in pain, which scared her mother. She didn't dare to touch her again. She just watched her daughter curl up in pain anxiously and asked with concern, "Honey, what's wrong? What happened?" Sophia did not answer. She slowly squatted on the ground, taking a deep breath, as if to relieve the pain. The family doctor that Sophia's parents had someone find was still on the way, so now they could only wait. I looked at the noisy scene in front of me coldly and did not step forward to interrupt. After a while, perhaps because the pain had become bearable, Sophia slowly stood up with the help of her mother. Sophia looked at me with red eyes and asked aggrievedly, "Husband, how could you marry someone else and let our son call this woman Mom? I am William's mother, I am your wife." Seeing Sophia still had the nerve to blame her son, I felt disgusted. I had seen Sophia like this before, and because of that time, I completely gave up on her. Sophia's lover is David from the David family. Because the David family trained David as the next heir, he was raised with love and care. Perhaps someone wanted to kidnap David to threaten the David family. In public, David was forced into a car with a knife pointed at his neck. He struggled desperately to escape, but the sharp blade cut his delicate skin. The spoiled nobleman had never suffered such a crime, so he obeyed at that time. As the person who was closest to the place at the time, I was also caught in the act. My mind went blank, as I was only here with my child for a stroll, but because I was too close, he was taken away with me. They held William, who was only a little over 1 year old, in their hands. Perhaps because the robber was too strong, William cried out in pain. The robber pointed the knife at his face and said fiercely, "If you make any more noise, I'll chop you up." The tip of the knife was very close to William's skin, and it would touch him with a slight movement. I looked at my son's red face and weak cry, and I felt like my heart was broken. Because William was a premature baby, his body was weaker than others, and now he was frightened. I didn't know if he would have a fever at night. My mouth was stuffed with a rag and I could only watch their every move. Fortunately, nothing worse happened in the end, and we were taken to an abandoned warehouse in the suburbs. It was dark, damp, and deserted. The robbers used David's phone to call his family, but no one answered. They looked up the number with sister in the address book and called it. This time it was answered, and it was Sophia on the other end. When William heard that his sweetheart was captured, he anxiously ordered the robbers to let them go, but he forgot that these people were a group of desperados. The robber laughed angrily and said arrogantly, "Before 5 p.m., bring $10 million to this address, and don't call the police. If we find out that your brother has this innocent passerby and child, I'm not sure what I will do." I didn't dare to put my child's life in Sophia's hands. While those people were discussing how to divide the money, I searched around and found a rusty and pitted iron bracket not far away. My eyes lit up, and I quietly moved my hands, which were tied behind my back, over there and rubbed them up and down. David saw my movements, and looked at me expectantly with his clear eyes, and his mouth sealed with tape was murmuring something. I was afraid that he would attract those people again, so I glared at him fiercely and he fell silent. I was satisfied. Just as I was about to continue sharpening the rope, the child's cry suddenly rang out. William, who was casually placed on the ground by the kidnappers, staggered around in the huge warehouse. He seemed to be hungry and started crying. The kidnappers, who were discussing heatedly, were frightened by this sudden shout. After the kidnappers reacted, they yelled, "Shut up!" The man who looked like the leader strode over and lifted William up by the collar. Our eyes met, and I was so nervous that I dared not breathe, fearing that he would attack the child. Unexpectedly, he brought the child to my side, untied my hands and feet, and warned me fiercely, "Stop making noise, kids, or I'll kill you." He also assigned someone to stand guard over me, fearing that I would run away. The escape plan was forced to be interrupted. I stopped to comfort the child and did not look at David's eyes for help. I was in danger now, and the only thing I could do was to wait. I hoped that Sophia would not listen to the robbers and come alone. Wouldn't that be asking for death? Soon the sun was setting and Sophia arrived as promised. The first thing she saw was David leaning against the wall, drowsy, and then she saw me standing beside him holding the child. Sophia asked in surprise, "Why are you here too?" I didn't say anything, but the robber became more interested and said jokingly, "Isn't this the famous star? You actually know him?" I frowned and answered, "I don't know him." Sophia excitedly shouted, "We know each other." Two completely different voices spoke at the same time, and everyone was stunned. Sophia was like a brainless person, and for some reason she was out of her mind. She revealed our relationship. He is my husband, and the one he is holding in his arms is my son. I thought the robbers had no ill intentions towards us, and the younger brother who had been guarding me let it slip during the conversation that they wanted to release my son and me first, and then release David after getting the money. After all, I was just a passerby who was implicated, and as long as nothing unexpected happened, my child and I would be safe. As soon as Sophia said this, there was an inevitable argument. As I expected, the robbers' eyes changed instantly. They would not let us go so easily. The robber leader hesitated for a moment and said loudly, "Well, your son won't count, but if you want to save your husband, I'll double the amount." I can't quite remember what was said afterwards, but I only remember that Sophia chose David without hesitation. I still remember her indifferent back as she supported David and walked out. I thought my son and I were dead, but plainclothes police showed up and had a gunfight with the robbers. I held my son in my arms and hid myself from the bullets. When the noise outside died down, I realized I was abandoned in the wilderness. I walked back to the city and got on the bus again. This high-profile kidnapping case also came to an end amid discussions among netizens, who only believed that Sophia, as a star, bravely rescued the kidnapped person together with the plainclothes police. My memories came back to me, and the past events were playing before my eyes like a movie, which seemed a little unreal. I didn't want to stay here any longer, so I squeezed my wife Olivia's hand and winked at her. Seeing that Olivia understood what I meant, I turned to look at Sophia and said, "We are no longer related, and the law has awarded my son to me. We are on our own terms, and from now on, we owe nothing to each other and have no relationship." After that, I pulled my wife and son and turned to leave. Sophia was stunned, then she came to her senses and yelled at us, "I don't agree, I won't give up." No one paid any attention to us, not even a glance. All we could hear was the noisy discussions behind us, mixed with Sophia's mother's efforts to persuade us, which then became quieter and quieter. After I left Sophia's family villa, I felt like I was alive again. I had a feeling that Sophia would not give up just because of my words. I didn't know why she gave up pestering David and returned to the city, but everything had nothing to do with me. I looked at Olivia beside me. She was like a little sun, warming my wounded heart. After returning to our cabin and putting Olivia's luggage back upstairs, I collapsed on the big bed as if I had lost all my strength. While lying down to rest, I took out my phone and saw that the news had caused an uproar on the internet. Once a popular actress, Sophia, has reappeared in the public eye, and many people are curious about her purpose. Sophia had not been heard from for 3 years, but she has become a hot topic this time. Could she be taking this opportunity to make a comeback? Maybe she couldn't make it abroad, so she came back to make money. Of course, there are also fans and haters who have been waiting for a long time. Netizens are discussing. I cried. My sister finally came back. That man finally let our sister go free. I will never regret loving Sophia in this life. I will still be her loyal fan in the next life. She has a healing smile, is considerate, gentle and caring, has a fairy-like appearance, is sunny and beautiful, is stunning at a glance, and has a bright moon and a cool breeze. She is the most beautiful Sophia in the world, the most beautiful woman. Sophia's fans are making confusing comments again. In the picture, Sophia looks abnormally thin. She is as thin as a bamboo pole. Could she have smoked? You smoked it, your whole family smoked it. It must be that man who abused Sophia, which made Sophia so thin. Fuck, Sophia's fans are all crazy. I put down my phone silently. This is not my fault. Regarding Sophia's retirement, these fans who are too bored to ask the real person, blame her agent and the entertainment company, and all blame me. I am the most innocent one. Not only did my wife run away with someone, but I was also cyberbullied. Who can be more miserable than me? It's really one wave after another. I just lay there in bed and fell into a deep sleep, and even the sound of Olivia opening the door didn't wake me up. When I opened my eyes again, it was already dark. I was wrapped in the quilt, sealed tightly. I was a little amused and was trying to get rid of the quilt when Olivia came in. Seeing my helpless look, Olivia pretended to be surprised and asked, "Hey, honey, why are you so tangled up like this? Aren't you hot?" If I hadn't seen her frown, I would have really believed her. I finally got out with Olivia's help, and my back was sweating a lot. I don't know how Olivia wrapped me up by herself. Olivia and I lingered in the room for a while, and then we went downstairs. The child at the table was eating with his mouth full of oil. When he saw us coming down, he waved his hands with his greasy paws and said coquettishly, "Mom, Dad, come and eat, it's delicious." We sat down and Olivia opened the trending search list and placed it in front of me. Sophia publicly apologizes, a conspicuous headline appeared at the top. Olivia, this is. I didn't understand what my wife meant. She reached out and clicked on it, opened the video, and said calmly, "You'll know after you take a look." In the video, Sophia was wearing a loose white dress, which made her look even thinner. Perhaps because she had been crying, her eyes were red and filled with tears. When she opened her mouth, the big tears flowed down her face. Sophia said with a choked voice, "I have thought about it for a long time over the years. I feel guilty towards all the fans who care about me, as well as my parents and family. Of course, I feel even more sorry for my husband. It was because of my selfishness that he was caught up in the public opinion storm. I am sorry." Sophia lowered her head, her eyes tearing up, causing fans to shout, "Baby, don't cry." Sophia wiped her tears and continued, "I'm sorry for taking up public resources. I'm sorry for causing inconvenience to everyone because of me." Sophia's tears fell and the video ended. I fell silent. Everything I had been through ended with Sophia's simple "I'm sorry." Here's the reformatted text with each sentence as a separate paragraph. I looked through the comments, and they were basically dominated by fans. There were few different voices. I simply put down my phone and met my wife's worried eyes. I shook my head and said firmly, "No matter what, some things have been done, and no matter how much you apologize, you can't go back. What's more?" I placed my hand over Olivia's and continued, "I have you now." The bright moonlight in the night sprinkled in the garden, covering the earth with a hazy veil. I sat in the pavilion, emptying myself and enjoying this rare quiet time. The sudden ringing of the phone startled me and I opened my eyes immediately. It was an unfamiliar number. I answered the phone and put it to my ear. Before I could say anything, I heard a crying voice on the other end, "James, I miss you so much." It was Sophia. If I had heard her say this a few years ago, I might have been so excited that I couldn't sleep, but time cannot be reversed, and I won't be moved again. I asked in confusion, "What do you want to do?" There seemed to be no movement from the other side, but not long after, the voice came again. I'm sorry, but I still want to start over with you, okay? Why are you so shameless, Sophia? Didn't I tell you that I was married? You didn't understand what I meant by married, right? After saying that, I hung up the phone and went back to my room with a lot of anger. Olivia was still awake, and she could tell I was in a bad mood as soon as I walked in. What's wrong? Who made you angry? Olivia's gentle voice calmed me down a little. I got on the bed and hugged her waist, my tone helpless and a little irritable, and I said helplessly, I don't know why my ex-wife came back and became a different person and started to pester me. She also wants to start over with me. Olivia had heard about what happened between Sophia and me before, and now she was also very angry when she heard this. She patted my back and comforted me like a child. Don't be angry, don't be angry. If Sophia comes to our house to bother us, I will kick her out. I smiled and nodded and responded, okay. Since our last phone call, Sophia didn't come to my house. Instead, she started to block people downstairs of my company, causing her fans and onlookers to often block the door, causing internal members to complain more than once. After trying to get rid of her many times without success, I decided to talk to Sophia. I took the initiative to ask her out, but she posted a status online that successfully made me even more annoyed with her. Sophia tweeted, he asked me out. The following people all wished happiness and everlasting love. I only knew about this after my assistant reminded me, and when I knew about it, it was discussed and became a hot topic again. As a last resort, I logged onto the company's official account and posted a statement to clarify, I'm married, please don't disturb me. I no longer paid attention to the online turmoil, and Sophia stopped making trouble and blocking people. When the day of the appointment came, I sat there waiting early, with an unrelieved irritation on my face. I just hoped that everything could be made clear today, Sophia would not pester me, and I would ignore her, so that everyone would be happy. The sound of high heels hitting the ground was heard, and Sophia came over and sat opposite me. Her face was rosy, perhaps because she had taken good care of herself these days. James, you finally agreed to see me. Sophia looked at me excitedly, with some morbid madness in her eyes. I didn't want to say more to her, so I just asked her what her purpose was. Sophia's expression became a little aggrieved and she said, I just want to be with you again, why are you asking me like I'm being interrogated? If I had seen her like this before, I would have comforted her without thinking, but now her behavior only annoyed me more. I felt a throbbing pain in my brain. She was so annoying. I coughed lightly and continued, then let me ask you something else. Why did you come back? Didn't you leave with David? It's only been 3 years. Why did you come back? I don't know which word caused Sophia to be in a trance for a while, as if she was reminiscing, and then she returned to normal. She bit her lip tightly and said slowly, in the first year when I pursued him, he was very good to me. I listened impatiently as Sophia started talking from the beginning. Sophia complained aggrievedly, it was fine at the beginning, we almost got back together, but you were my legal husband at the time, and we couldn't get over that hurdle. Later, maybe because he was tired of being pestered, David started to avoid me. Before I came back, we accidentally entered a place where a gunfight was going on, and unfortunately, a stray bullet flew towards our hiding place. I was in front of David a second before the bullet came, and I was hit in the chest by the stray bullet, but fortunately it didn't hurt my vital parts, and I was rescued. The moment I was hit by the bullet, I suddenly woke up. She went on to say, the first person that came to my mind was you. I regretted not cherishing the person in front of me, so when my wounds were a little better, I came back. I was eager to see you, but at the airport, I saw you calling someone else your wife and your child calling someone else your mother. Sophia nervously clicked her fingers, showing her uneasiness at the moment. I sneered and continued, now that you know that I'm divorced from you and have a new family, why do you still want to pester me? Because I can't accept it. Almost as soon as I finished speaking, Sophia yelled as if she was stimulated, and everyone in the store looked at us. However, Sophia didn't care, and yelled like crazy, I can't accept that the child I gave birth to with great effort calls someone else mother, I can't accept that my husband who has always waited for me and loved me has a new wife. I guess someone recognized Sophia. Not only did some people in the store start taking photos and videos, but some were also discussing something in low voices. Seeing more and more people gathered around, the waiter came over with an embarrassed look on his face and asked us to keep our voices down. Sophia then seemed to have just realized what was happening and quickly apologized. We found a new private room, which was shielded from all outside sight. Sophia calmed down a bit. I thought back to what she had said before and felt speechless. I said with a serious expression, things have already been decided. Even if you want to start over, it's impossible. You said before that you wouldn't even look at a bootlicker like me. Remember? The moment you chose David a few years ago, it was destined that there would be a gap between us. William and I were abandoned in that deserted suburb. Do you know how we came back? You don't know. Even after I came back, you didn't even look at us. The child was frightened and had a high fever and kept crying, but in order not to disturb your sleep, you put him in another room and let him cry by himself. When I got home from the hospital and heard the sound, he was almost out of strength and unconscious with a fever. I didn't care about anything else at this time, and I vented all my anger that had been accumulated for a long time. I roared. Now when I think of William's red face and the weak crying like a kitten, I still feel scared. I can't imagine what William would be like if I got home a little later. You are not worthy of being a human being. I said this with gritted teeth, trying hard to calm the anger in my heart. Sophia's face turned pale after hearing what I said. She pursed her lips and her eyes were full of regret. I looked at her earnestly and said, "Please stop pestering me. If you continue like this, I may not do anything. Do you understand?" After I kept asking her, Sophia finally replied with a trembling voice, "I understand." After this conversation, she never came to see me again. Perhaps she really thought it through. The rumors that were circulated on the internet at the time gradually faded in Sophia's explanation. She returned to her acting career, but this circle has never lacked capable newcomers, so she has never been very popular. Sophia invested almost all of her earnings into the Children's Foundation to help rural children in more difficult situations. After the news broke, she became a bit famous. I also made a lot of money for the company by taking advantage of the aftermath of the online incident. After that, I took a break to change the environment and mood. I took my wife and children out to play and rest for a while. On the way back, I encountered fans welcoming me at the airport. Sophia walked through the fans with ease, and seemed to have noticed something. We looked at each other after she turned around. Their eyes met, then quickly separated. I looked at Olivia and said softly, "Let's go." She got into the car with her assistant agent, and I left from another exit with my beloved family. The past is like a passing cloud. What I want most now is to cherish the people in front of me.